It's one thing to know that your life has changed. It's another to realize who you thought you were can't actually survive the change. And that's where a lot of us get stuck, not in the rebuilding of our lives, but in letting go of the identities that once defined us. And that's not an easy task. This is the part 2 of a 3-part mini-series. So if you skip part 1, you might be missing a few things. So go back, watch the very first episode, then come back here, because what we're about to unpack only makes sense once you've seen the very beginning. Hi, my name is Francis. Over the years as a therapist and a coach, I've noticed something. Change doesn't fall apart because people don't want it. It falls apart because the moment they try to move forward, resistance kicks in. We hesitate, we distract ourselves, and then we wonder, what's wrong with us? On this channel, I hope you understand those patterns, work with them, and start creating a life that you actually feel connected to, not just one that you're just surviving in. By the way, if you're new here, I created a free mini course and a short quiz, again, free, that's called What's Your Resistance Style? Both are linked in the description below if you want to explore what those patterns are and immediately receive some guidance that will help you get unstuck. So between 2013 and 2016, my life unraveled in ways I couldn't predict or even control. And over those 3 years, I walked away from almost everything that felt certain. So I thought. My home of decades, jobs, friendships, even the connections that I thought were real. And with every step, a ripple effect started, again, that I wasn't really prepared for. What I didn't realize then was that the pain wasn't just from losing circumstances, connections, or situations, or people. It was actually grief. Grief for the life that I thought I was supposed to have, grief for the person I thought I was. Here's the part that no one tells you about this journey. And when you decide to just walk away from certain things in your life, you don't just lose people or just routines. You lose the version of yourself that actually lived inside of them. It's going to make sense in a bit. But that's what made everything feel so disorienting. It wasn't just about rebuilding my life. It was that I was losing pieces of myself that I wasn't really ready to release. And I had to face that. I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but have you ever felt like the hardest part of change wasn't the situation itself, but the version of you it asked you to leave behind? Share that in the comments and let me know that I'm not by myself in this. Stay with me as we continue on this video because we're going to go a bit deeper into this, and I believe it's going to help you as you work through whatever is coming up for you on this journey. All right, so here again, where people get stuck. Because when you're in this place, everyone has something to say. Reinvent yourself, cut ties with everybody or certain people, step into the new you, embrace it all with arms wide open. But here's the truth. You can't just discard an identity that once gave you safety, belonging, and even love. There's this concept in psychology called belief perseverance. It explains why this is so hard. When a belief becomes a part of your identity, even overwhelming evidence won't make you let it go. Because changing that belief feels like changing who you are. And that kind of shift feels disorienting, almost unbearable. So on a deeper level, that disorientation isn't just sadness, but the pain of releasing a self you've lived inside of. And even when that release is necessary, it still feels like loss. Kind of what I mentioned earlier about what I was experiencing during those years, and I didn't necessarily realize that at that time. And so that's why the hesitation, the second guessing, or circling back to the familiar happens right when we're trying to move forward, especially when we make like a decision that kind of like cements it, and then all these things start getting in the way of that decision. And so what we do often is we try to force change, but nothing sticks because there's one step we usually skip. Almost no one names it out loud. And I realize a lot of my clients don't even know this either. And so this is the kind of work that I do with my clients, and we process this and we spend a lot of time in this area. Again, this is grief, grieving the version of yourself that can't come with you. And I've had clients who liked that former version of themselves. So it wasn't all negative. There were qualities and attributes that they deeply loved and even missed. They wanted them back. So maybe it's about grieving the roles that you once held that felt like those roles mattered a lot or made you feel worthy in some way, even if they no longer fit or make sense in your current life. And so we hold on to them as a form of resistance, form of protection. And so these roles, they defined our lives in ways that aren't definable and our present state. So here's a question I really want you to sit with. What part of you are you still protecting, even though you know it no longer fits? It's no longer working for you in your current state. Many people aren't aware that they have parts of themselves that act as forms of protection, not self-sabotage. And so this is the part, again, almost no one talks about. If this video is bringing you value and some things are starting to click, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. It lets me know that these topics are also important to you, and most importantly, it helps others find the channel. So thank you, means a lot. All right, so let me paint you a picture. Inside of you, it feels like there are two characters that are pulling at each other. One is desperate for freedom, maybe even clarity, and they're ready for what's next. And the other is super terrified of losing that form of stability, clinging to the life that they've always known. And so that tug of war, again, that's resistance. And it's not a moment of failure on your part, it's devotion. One part of you is still loyal to the self that has been carrying you, that is carrying you. And another part is being pulled toward the self that's waiting to surface, to come to the surface. And that's why change can often feel like a paradox, because to step forward, a part of you has to be left behind, which means you're not making a decision about the future. You're also just grieving the past self that made survival possible. Again, you're not resisting change because you don't want it. You're resisting because part of you still loves who you've been. So how do you work with that tug of war instead of getting stuck inside it? That's exactly where we're headed to next. But before I get into that, a lot of things come up in people's mind. Maybe you're thinking, if I let go of who I was, will there be anything left of me? And that's one of the scariest thoughts to face. But here's the truth. What dissolves isn't your essence, it's the mask. And what's left is the part of you that has always been real, always there, just waiting for permission to step forward safely. Or maybe it sounds like this might be what's going on in your head right now. Maybe it sounds like, again, that role gave me stability, so if I lose it, won't I lose everything? But remember, that stability was built on an old identity that actually wasn't keeping you safe. What falls away is the false anchor, a false sense of safety. And so what remains is a self that you can actually lean into, you can actually trust for the first time. And if you've ever wondered how to move through that tug of war without getting lost in it, stay with me, because in the next episode, this is where we wrap all of this together like a neat little bow. In the meantime, you can also check a 5-part series, what it means to get lost and how to work through that as well. That's a super helpful series. But anyway, as we wrap up, remember, the hardest part of change isn't becoming someone new. I hear this a lot. I just want to be somebody different. I just want to be someone new. It's really about saying goodbye to the version of you that can't come along. And after that goodbye comes the real question: how do you actually live from that self that's emerging, the one that's coming to the surface? So that's what we're going to unpack in the final video of this mini series. So be sure to watch part 3. In the meantime, again, I created something to help you go deeper right now. Literally, you can take my free mini course, and there's also a short quiz, what's your resistance style, and the mini course is how to finally get unstuck without becoming someone that you're not. That'll give you insight into exact patterns that are coming up for you, the patterns that might be holding you back. Both links are in the description below, so check out the resources. I'll see you in part 3. Again, thank you so much for watching. Again, share this video with someone that you think that needs to hear this message. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side of change.